Cesar, how do you see this recession different from recessionary periods that we've experienced in the past?
What's different here is we're getting hit from multiple angles, right? If you think back to 07, 08, bubble burst, all of a sudden we had a demand problem because, people weren't able to get free money the way they were before. And a lot of folks, a lot of the economy that sort of depended on construction and the rest of it hit the skids. And so we had essentially a demand and an unemployment challenge at the time. What's different here between pandemic and, war and really a bunch of challenges like that is that we've got a supply chain problem, like pandemic driven, actually sourcing product, which creates all sorts of challenges for figuring out, how to make your supply chains more resilient. We've got a labor problem, given what for a number of reasons. It's just harder to get folks, to be available for things. At least that seems to be the case. And arguably, some of that is kind of situational in this case, and some of it is actually sort of long-term realization that now you have to pay folks a bit more to get them to take the jobs. And then the third point would be that we've got an inflation challenge that is hitting us and is sort of a simultaneous challenge to price inflation for the supply components. Media is more expensive, among other things, as well as then on the demand side, folks actually have less disposable income to spend. And so these things are sort of a collection of things that are hitting us that are a little bit different than what we've seen in the last 2 years with the pandemic, and then thinking back in the last 10, 15 with the challenges we had coming out of the last recession. The challenge now is that the nature of the problem is different, right? It's less about, in a world where capital is cheap, when you're profitable and interest rates are low and you can actually afford to spend on a variety of things, whether you borrow the money or fund it out of profits. It's more about execution. It's more about making sure you don't waste the money. But in this environment, it's really much more about selection, about actually selecting surgically the specific opportunities you're going to go after, the specific products and customers where you can in fact serve those because you've got the supply chain, you've got the labor, right? And the price dynamics are such that people are still demanding that product in that sector. If I have one piece of advice for marketers, it's to really understand your purchase paths and to know along those where the bottlenecks are. If you have a conversion issue, if like you've got, whether it's a technical issue or an economic issue, a price issue, it doesn't make sense to keep on pouring money into the engagement and awareness buckets because you're just not converting that traffic. And in a recession, that'll kill you. So the idea is to know where your bottleneck is and shift your attention, and your spending and your solutions to that place in the path.